Hello everyone and welcome back to Naburu Town. I wanted to point out that this Ak over here, if you wake him up enough, he'll give you kind of a clue and we'll figure out what that means later. It's something I wanted to show off and I wasn't actually aware of it until somebody mentioned it to me. So thank you for mentioning that to me. So I went ahead and added that to this video. I also wanted to show off the fire spell real quick before we went on to the next part of this Let's Play. Fire spell is pretty useful, just shoots out fire from your sword. It's useful for enemies that are weak to fire, and are only weak to fire. Next I want to show you in Saria Town, Saria Harbor Town or Port Town, sometimes you have these Ox that come out, and I think they're called Ganon Ox or Ganon Akes or whatever you want to call them, but enemy bats, whatever. Basically sometimes some of the townspeople will actually turn into bats, and if you don't have too much experience, it's not too difficult to get rid of them, but if you have too much experience, sometimes, well, you won't get rid of them. It'll take like 11 or 28 hits to get rid of them anyway. Anyways, we wake up this bot. We're just talking to it enough time that it'll tell us that's where Bagu is, so yeah, that's pretty cool. Anyways, it's time to begin the regular Let's Play. And to do that, we go north through this cave. And this cave isn't too difficult. Got some Akmen here, Akemen. I'm not sure if you pronounce it Ake or Ak, but I know Batman is copyrighted, so you got me on that one, viewers. Anyways, that, by the way, the enemy we just couldn't defeat, except if we had fire, was actually a Zora. And I don't know why Zoras are showing up in caves, but hey, you know, whatever the developers wanted is what the developers got. So. And this is kind of interesting too. This forest is kind of like on a plateau or mesa or something when you go in through here. And enemies are a little more difficult, but not too terrible, I think. I think because you don't have to deal with a swamp, but one location. I think the swamp has kind of a confirmation bias in terms of it. Everybody thinking it's more difficult than it actually is, especially because it blindsides you. I mean, it gives you something difficult. But anyways, here we get an extra life. So we're up to 5 lives now. 5 extra lives. So that's pretty nice. This bridge doesn't have any enemies on it, and it takes us over to Maze Island. And really, in most quests, you're going to take at least 2 trips to Maze Island because of the fact that there's a particular item here that we need. The Maze Palace, which is the 4th palace, requires a particular spell. And of course, they're not just going to give us that spell. We actually have to earn it. And to earn that spell, let me pop over this guy's head, we have to get this little kidnapped child. And if you weren't aware of it, the next town we go to is going to mention this. So, I'm just going to go ahead and pick it up. You know, absolutely, we can carry a child throughout the palace. Yeah, sure, we can just let him piggyback. Or put the child somewhere in our... I don't know. At any rate, Maze Island, it's not too difficult to take care of or follow through. You do want to get the magic container here, though. The most direct route is not really the route we can take just yet. And the second direct route, which is just trying to go through the maze as quickly as possible, is also not the route you want to really take because there are a lot of traps and enemies along the way. And, I mean, they're not too... I mean, they're not gonna... Well, no, some spots could kill you. That's right, some spots could kill you, and you'll see. They could attack you like this with these Zoras, and I don't know why the Zoras are showing up here, of all places. There's no water. But, whatever. Go up this way, go through the S. Now, some of the traps are unavoidable, like the one we just had. But I remember Nintendo Power coming out with a guide, and they had like little blast zones or blast graphics or something, but wherever the traps were. Anyways, here we go. Now we're getting to a palace that gives us the Moa, the fiery Moa, in the beginning of the palace. And we have a red jar here, and it's not really a good place to really build experience because of the Moa. You know, so you might as well build experience in the Island Palace if you wanted to do that. And you don't have the Moa to deal with. Although if you had another attack, you could probably deal with the Moa pretty quickly. And if only we knew what that attack was. We don't have it just yet. There's some neat patterns in this dungeon, actually. Well, neat texture patterns, I guess you'd say. Now, if you'll remember what a kid told us back in Nibiru about certain pits that you want to drop down, well, we finally uncovered that secret in this level. And we skipped it at first because we wanted to jump over here. Now imagine you're just playing this game and you're not aware of these bottomless pits that we're going to see. You would jump over here, go all the way over, and eventually you'd get a key. And then where would you go? I mean, you'd have fairy, of course. I mean, you could go through some other locked doors if you wanted to do that. You don't have to. But let's say you're just playing the game normally. And you went this way, and you thought you got stuck. Well, you'll see in a moment. Because at this point, you really can't do much. You could probably use fairy to get up there, but let's say you went down here, you would uncover a bottomless pit. Well, not bottomless, but somewhat bottomless. And let's say you went to this first tier, which is where you're supposed to go. And you'd go all the way over to the right, you know, normally. Now this level actually, this palace is pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy to it's pretty easy to not get lost in this palace if you just follow where you're logically supposed to go. I actually think Midora Palace is a lot more difficult in terms of getting lost than this palace. Also, this palace is kind of divided into two different sections. There's a right section and a left section. And what I want to do is take care of the right section of this dungeon at first. And what do I mean by that? Well, when we first went down the elevator in the beginning of the palace, well, there's two directions we could have gone, left or right, and we chose right. So we're going to clear out the right path as much as possible. And that way we're going to stock up on keys, and we should be all set. Now it's not completely, a bottomless pit, because there's a bottom here, but it's somewhat bottomless, I guess. It's kind of a neat feature to the dungeons. It kind of creates little shortcuts, one-way shortcuts, and that's pretty nice. Now we need to destroy these blocks, by the way, because if we don't, jumping over that block without the jump spell is going to be difficult. So they kind of put that there to trick you. There's no red jar here. Now here I want to kind of wait for this bubble to pop back, because if I don't, he can hit you while you're trying to jump over the pit, and that will kill you. Even if you kind of down thrust over it and try to jump over it, you can still die in the lava, and that's no good. Same here, by the way. You can easily die there if you're not careful, thanks to these guys floating around here. Also here we're introduced to Wizrobes, and we are not able to get rid of the Wizrobes just yet. We need a certain spell to do that. The Wizrobes are a little different in this game, sorry. And we get another one of these rooms, just like the Island Palace, but thankfully, thankfully we have a little more experience in life, I suppose, so it's not too bad. I got a little lucky here, and actually here, 3 or 4 of them can show up at once on the screen. I think in Midora Palace only 2 can show up, because that's all I've ever seen. But feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, you know. Also, by the way, in the sleeping enemies list that we just saw in the beginning of the game, I'm not aware of any other sleeping enemies, so if there's any that I'm gonna miss, that are in the future that I've missed, well, just let me know, and I'll try to cover that. Now that we've done that, it's about time to exit the palace, because basically we got the magic boots, and the magic boots are going to enable us to take a pretty nice shortcut. So the maze, well, you'll see. You will see. I don't want to spoil it just yet. Okay, that's what I meant, by the way, by left or right. We just took the right path, and if we went down there and went left, that would be the left path. We'd eventually get stuck. Anyways, it's time to take a shortcut, and with the magic boots, we can just pretty much avoid the entire maze altogether, and that's pretty nice. There's some places where you can walk on water, and some places where you cannot. Sometimes you can take shortcuts while walking on water, and sometimes again you can't, so it's kind of one of those things. You do need it though to finish the game, and you'll see in a future episode why. This part's kind of a pain in the butt because you have to go back and forth a little bit, and there's no way to teleport with a warp whistle or anything. But that's alright. You know, you just take it as it comes. Not let the game frustrate you too much. And there's 2 traps here. You can kind of avoid the traps here. It just takes a little while. There's a way to avoid the traps, and I'll cover that later in the Let's Play. When it becomes very important to avoid the traps. If you know what I mean. Well, really when the traps are really annoying and I don't want to deal with them. You know. And here we are in the mountain town of Darunia. Druidia? No. Anyways, we've got a lot of Stepford wives over here. There's nothing in here. Nothing to worry about. So another message about the River Devil. So, that's a little hint. We might as well get some life recovered. You know, couldn't hurt, couldn't hurt. You notice a lot of chimneys in this town. Must be kind of cold. Or maybe they've got chimney sweeps or something. I don't know. This guy's jogging to lose his weight. Okay, the palace is a false wall. Remember that for later. That's not going to refer to the 4th palace, but it's going to refer to another one. You'll see. Alright, fine. And he turns into a Ganon Bat. I'm just going to call it a Ganon Bat. I think they were added in the game just for quote-unquote fun, but oh well. Here we have the lady that had the missing kidnapped child, or whatever you call it. And for our reward, what do we get? We get a spell that we need to pretty much complete the game. So we've got magic to strengthen a sword, and the Reflect spell to strengthen your shield. Reflect pretty much makes your shield stronger. It will reflect magic, it will reflect fire, or at least absorb fire, so it's pretty nice. We're not going to use it that much, though. It's only really useful in one particular section. And we already talked to her. But we're not done with the town just yet. There's something else in this town that we need to get. And this kid is telling us about it. A powerful knight, eh? So we had a powerful knight in the harbor town of Mido. So is there a powerful knight in this town that gives us another attack? Well, yes, actually. And what we need to do is just cast the jump spell, build up a little bit of speed, and just jump on the roofs. There's actually a glitch you can perform around here too, but maybe I'll do that for a bonus episode. Anyways, we go down here, through the chimney, and I guess he's okay with us invading the chimney or something, but whatever. And here we get the up thrust, or the upward thrust. So now we can stab in all 4 directions. Look at that. We're so talented. Look what I can do, right? It's kind of fun to do this. Actually, with this you can take care of some other enemies, like the fiery Moa. So that's pretty nice. Anyways, let's get some magic before we leave. And this pretty much wraps up this episode, so thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Goodbye.